Hey YouTubers, 390 here. I was going through some boxes of paperwork and stumbled across some of these old Woody World CB Gazette issues that I had from back in the day. This is I started let's see, my subscription with him I think pretty much towards the end of the CB Gazette days, and these date back 1996 to the first quarter of 1997. This was some pretty neat stuff back in the day. These gazettes that Woody put out were something that was needed in the hobby back then, I feel. A lot of neat old stuff, retro stuff on the Brownings and the Trams and stuff like this. I've talked to Brian on the phone back many years ago, and he's a pretty nice guy. Still has a kind of a neat web page up. And lots of Browning stuff in here. Neat little articles and stories and stuff like this. And you know, back in the mid-90s, there was quite the need for something like this. Radio, CB radio in general, just kind of was still popular with, you know, a lot of us, but it was kind of an underground movement at the time. And here's a neat old thing from Citizens Band movie. A little review on that. And vintage CB collecting. I think this is a Charles Zafonte article. Yes, it is. Brian Woodbury and Charles Zafonte, they wrote some pretty neat articles and stuff. And you know, this was just about when the internet was just getting started, and what I would call the beginning of the golden age of collecting radios. I first started collecting radios back in the early to mid 80s. And we were looking for, like, you know, these TRS Challengers and Stoners, and of course Brownings and Trams, yada yada yada, you know, all the main staples, stuff like that. But every once in a while he'd have a neat little thing here, and I'm just gonna, I have my glasses on, so I'm gonna kind of just run over this. And this was a story about the Browning Ping. And it says, as many of you know, Browning has got its reputation for quality rigs. Of course, the Browning Ping was also considered somewhat of an asset as well. All you had to do was key them, unkey them, and everyone knew what kind of rig you were running. So how did this Ping get its start? It's a very good question, and the answer is almost as hard as coming up with the explanation on how amateur radio became known as ham radio. Oh God, I'm sorry. According to the rumor mill, this is the story. But keep in mind, I don't have any documentation. However, I've heard this off and on for several years now. The Mark III came out and sales skyrocketed. Owners discovered that they had a unique sound or ping coming from their radio when they keyed up the microphone. This ping caught on like wildfire. Meanwhile, back at Browning's headquarters, an engineer conducting tests discovered this very same thing. Only he regarded it as a flaw or a problem which had to be addressed soon. They found that a mild-mannered capacitor was at fault, prematurely discharging, and Browning quickly changed the value, thus eliminating the ping. Meanwhile, back in the real world, sales fell and units were returned to the factory as defective because their new Mark IIIs didn't ping like the rest of them. So out came the new capacitor, and in went the old. The ping was back. Is this the true story? Yeah, I don't know. But it's the only one that has withstood the test of time. Pretty cool stuff. I love it. These guys were really into Brownings and stuff back then. Of course, the ads, you know, we see these on the internet now, and it's just no big deal. You know, we've seen all this stuff. All the neat little ads here. and old Radio Shack ads. That's kind of neat. This is really fun to look through. These things are quite interesting. Little ditty about PDL2s, vintage CB collecting. I don't know, I should probably call Woody World up and see if it's okay for me to scan some of these and put them on the interweb. I'm not really sure. The old Vanny Moonraker ad, it's kind of neat. Charlie's Never Alone at Nights with his Golden Eagle. You know, back then, a CB radio was kind of an important piece of furniture in the house. You know, you could see they designed them that way as well. That was how a lot of folks basically associated. It's kind of a social networking type device. Pretty neat stuff. And my last one is issue 15 of 1997 here. You got to remember, this is pretty much kind of more of an underground movement. I don't even really remember how I heard about Woody World or anything like that, but I was quite the collector. Little CP 300 mobile. I've had quite a bit of the radios that are in this thing and still do. I haven't really taken any rigs into my collection in the last few years, other than maybe a little one here or there. But anyway, pretty neat stuff. Visit Woody World. I think you could Google it as Woody World or CB Gazette, and you'll see some old stuff on there. You'll see some old Browning pictures and Stoners and Trams and all that kind of stuff. I think even in the day here, I bought some radios from Zafonte, as a matter of fact. Shipped them all the way over from New York and stuff. And pretty interesting. Look at that, a 40-channel Gladiator with a Digiscan on that. That's pretty cool. So, anyway. He's got some neat stuff on the interweb still. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Boy, I'll tell you what, man, I used to just sit out there and wait at the mailbox for this stuff to come in. This was pretty neat stuff back in the day, quite interesting. Shack-O-Rama 96. I'm sure we've seen this guy's stuff on the internet too. Like I say, no big deal now, but back then, pretty cool. Woody World, CB Gazette. Alrighty, guys. Any of you other operators out there have any CB Gazettes or anything like that out there? Keep them. Don't throw them away. I mean, they don't really take up any room, and they're just kind of fun to go through, you know. And if you guys got some of these laying around you don't want anymore, hell, send them to me. Email me, and I'll throw you some postage. Okay, take care. Have a good one. 390 from the northwest corner.